closing sections of the motorway in both directions in this morning's rush hour. Problems, we're being told, still being suffered. So if you're listening to us on GB News Radio, we'll try and update you when we get more details. But to discuss the problem further now, we're joined by motoring journalist Danny Kelly. Danny, thanks for joining us. Here we go again, it seems.
It's scandalous. I watched one of the videos of a 24-year-old young woman hysterically screaming that she had no future. You know what? She even started, when I was watching her, she even started in my mind to even look like Greta Thunberg. They're sort of morphing into Greta Thunberg, these young activists. It's a disgrace. This is contempt of court, Mark, as well. Contempt of court is one of the most serious of the criminal infringements, because you are basically undermining, even though it's a low-level crime, you are undermining the sanctity of our judicial system. I hate what they do. I don't hate them individually. They are deluded if they think they're going to change government policy by attaching themselves to a gantry on the M25. All they're doing, ironically, Mark, is having thousands of cars idling, pumping out CO2 into the air, something that they're trying to put a stop to. It's just counterintuitive. They're not going to change government policy, and the working class man and woman have had enough of it. Yeah,
as you say, obviously CO2 levels much lower if you're driving at 55 miles an hour on a motorway as opposed to standing still there. But a lot of questions being asked to how on earth did they manage to get up? I think it's 8 separate gantries. One assumes there must be security gates or locks on these things, but they just managed to climb up over the top of the motorway.
It's as straightforward as that. It really is. And one thing I'm happy about, Mark, is that the old bill, the police are being proactive now. They're starting to put doors through at 5 in the morning and scream, police, 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 as they run upstairs and handcuff these zealots. That's what they should have done a while ago. And I'm looking at your VT there, Mark. Look at the thousands and thousands of diesel lorry engines and cars and petroleum cars just sitting there, polluting the environment, something that they are dead set against. And I tell you, Mark, what also annoys the working class man and woman, not necessarily when they're hanging from gantries, is when they're in the capital protesting. And when the old bill, when a police officer, the much needed Metropolitan Police, it takes 4 of them to pick one of these loonies up, because they flop out, they make it as difficult as possible for the Met to put them in the back of the police cars. And those hard-working men and women of the Metropolitan Police should be in the tough inner city areas, trying to prevent knife crime, trying to prevent robberies and muggings. Yet it takes 4 of them, deliberate act to try and slow down the Met. It's a scandal.
OK, well, clearly from what the police were saying, they did make arrests, I think 3 arrests early this morning as a result of intelligence, so that they're obviously trying to get on top of it. But the sophistication of the operation just looking at the various junctions affected from 6 and 8 to 9 all the way up to junctions 30, it's been quite cleverly thought out.
Oh, yes, without a doubt. Listen, although I hate their actions, I don't hate them individually. One has to admire the tenacity and determination of these people, Mark. You really have to have some courage, because they know that they're facing a prison sentence because they are breaching a contempt of court order from a judge. Now, listen, I don't like what they do. I admire their tenacity. I wish they'd go about it in a different way. They would argue, Mark, that they've tried different ways. But I remind you once again, if they think they are going to change government policy by gluing themselves to streets in the capital, by hanging from gantries across the M25, they are absolutely crazy.
OK, just a quick thought, though, because obviously we've got everyone out in Sharm el-Sheikh at the summit, the COP27, where we're being told that the UN chief said we're all on a highway to climate hell. Do you think that maybe given those warnings coming out from all these world leaders that we maybe ought to stop and just rethink our approach a bit?
Very much so, Mark. I'm not disputing what they're trying to achieve. I'm not a climate change denier at all. All I am doing is saying that you are frustrating the average man and woman trying to go about and do their business. That's all I'm saying. They have lost. I genuinely believe they have lost the majority of support that they once had. Once you start affecting people's journeys, once you start stopping people making medical appointments, hospital appointments, then you are on a hiding to nothing when it comes to public support. Forget Sharm el-Sheikh. We're talking about the average Joe just trying to make a living, putting food on the table and paying their excessive mortgages because of that disastrous budget a month ago.
Danny, as ever,